You guys wanted some entertainment, you got some. Hopefully I don't have to deal with wiring, not in this parking lot right here in beautiful Montreal. Welcome back, I'm Alex, and we have a bit of a different video for you guys today. We're going on a little bit of an adventure with my 30-year-old F350. They say, and I've said, that the 7.3 Powerstroke in this truck is one of the most dependable, durable, strong, and long-lasting engines ever put into a pickup truck. And with just under 250,000 miles on this engine, I figured we'd put that to the test, see if this truck still has it. We have a 4,000 kilometer, 2,500 mile road trip ahead of us back home for my sister's wedding, and I'm the MC, so I cannot be missing that wedding. So there's a little bit riding on this truck, making it not being stuck on the side of the road. God damn it. Now, like most older vehicles, there's always something to do, and we got a little bit of a checklist before we hit the road here. First of all, I would love to get our AC up and running. Apparently, it should be a pretty easy fix. We got a charge in the system. The previous owner said it shouldn't be that difficult to get it going, but we'll see about that. We're also going to be changing our transmission fluid, our transfer case fluid, and our rear differential fluid, because this rear end is actually locking up when the truck or when the rear end gets hot. It is a limited slip rear end, which we tested in the winter, and it wasn't working apparently. But when this diff gets hot, those clutches seemingly are locking up this differential. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the fluid. I suspect or the previous owner, or whoever did the maintenance last, probably put the wrong fluid in here. So we got some new fluid, some AMSoil Severe gear with some friction modifier in it, and that should hopefully let those clutches slip and not lock up our differential. Speaking of AMSoil, if you guys want 25% off any AMSoil product, you can become one of my preferred customers and get that 25% off. That link will be down below in the description. Let me show you what's going on. I got a good clip of this rear end sort of acting weird. Found out why the driveline is binding when she gets hot. Check this out. So I got jack under this wheel, that wheel's on the ground. There's a limited slip in here, which we tested in the winter, and it didn't actually work. Well, when it's hot, this thing's acting like a locker because I cannot spin that wheel whatsoever. So when we're cornering, this whole driveline's binding up. So we are most likely going to need some new diff fluid with some friction modifier. Next, we do have a rear U-joint that has some play in it, and I want to change that before we get out on the road. We got a nice Spicer U-joint, nothing but name brands on this baby. So let's get going on this list. First up is the AC. So allegedly when I bought this truck, the previous owner said that the AC clutch was the problem. He actually gave me the part which he said would fix the problem. So just to triple check that that's the case, we're gonna just throw some power at this, just ground and power, get my power probe, and we'll see what this clutch does. Interesting. So, to me, it looks like this clutch is engaging fine. It doesn't look like there's any damage on it. So next, we will check if we have power coming to our AC clutch. Seems to me like that clutch is working. We're gonna have to probably bring this into a shop with an AC machine just to see what our pressures are at and go from there. She's blowing cold, boys. She's blowing cold. For how long? I guess we'll see. What we ended up finding out is that the compressor clutch was actually just fine. Seems to be working fine at this point anyways. The problem seemed to be the high pressure cutout switch right here. we would wiggle it, or I would wiggle it, and we could actually get the clutch to engage and disengage. So I ended up going to change that. I ended up taking it to my old shop, and we hooked up the machine, drained what was left in it. There actually was a charge still in it, and we put in the right amount, and she's blowing nice and cold. Gasket out of here. Get our gasket soaked in some fuel. Next, we're just gonna crawl under there, drain, fill both our trans as well as our transfer case. So for our 5-speed manual transmission, we are putting in Castrol Transmax full synthetic automatic transmission fluid. Yes, it is a manual transmission, but Ford calls for automatic transmission fluid, and I had a heck of a time figuring out which type of transmission fluid this transmission took. So I ended up going right to the source, emailing ZF, and this is exactly what they told me to use. So that's what we're putting in her.
That was on there. She looks good. She looks really good, actually.
Oh yeah. Next, it's time to attack this transfer case.
All right, always use a good hammer on your ratchets, children. Okay. Yep. Again, looks pretty healthy. Healthy stuff.
No metal chunks in it. That's always a good sign. Now, this is a question for you fine folks, because you guys tend to know a lot more than me, normally anyways. So, a little bit sideways, we'll go like this. First of all, made in Canada, you don't see that very often, but in terms of tire pressure, it says 80 PSI at the back, 65 PSI at the front. Now, originally, I was running both of these tires at right around 50 PSI. I figured that'd be pretty decent. I'm not planning on loading this thing up anytime soon. And then I noticed that the outside of this tire, you can kind of see like still the inside of the middle of the tire was getting most of the wear. So I dropped down to 40 PSI and it's better, but it still seems to me like the outside of the tire is not necessarily getting the same wear as the middle. Same thing with the fronts. I dropped them down to 40 PSI with the weight of the engine here. It seems like that's much better for the front. We can see just based on the wear or where the tire's contacting my shop floor, you can see it's much more throughout the tire. So I think that's okay. Let me know what you guys are running for PSI on your OBS Fords, because 80 PSI in the back just seems way too much. Time to see what's going on in this rear diff. Hopefully we don't have anything broken, and the new fluid will make all the difference. This is a limited slip rear end. We got one wheel turning forward, the other wheel is also turning forward. Pretty telltale sign you have a limited slip in the back. Actually, I'll even show you the clutches. So there's our spider gears there, that's our cross. And hopefully you guys can see right in behind there, that is the clutch pack. There's one on each side, and those clutches help to engage or transfer torque to both wheels evenly. Not 100% of the time, which is why we call it a limited slip. It limits slip, it is not a locker. But what I think what's happening is, I'll bring you back in. I think what's happening is these clutches in behind this the spider gear here, they're not slipping at all. And that's what friction modifier actually does. It helps these clutches slip. I'm not gonna lie, I always thought friction modifier was to help the clutches lock up better. Turns out that's not the case. It's actually to help these clutches slip. And this AMSOIL gear oil already has friction modifier in it. If we take it out for a spin and we're still not getting the slip we need, we can actually order additional AMSOIL friction modifier, and that should help as well. So one step at a time. Next up, we're gonna bang out that rear U-joint that's a little bit loose, replacing it with this Spicer unit. You guys should be able to see, but you can hear it. We got some play in this this rear U-joint here, so we're gonna take care of that before we embark on our road trip. Here's our drive shaft on the counter, the bench. I actually really like the way this yoke out of the transfer case looks. Fantastic. We don't have a ridge here, which is surprising. See that? Spicer, baby. That's the reason why we're using these. But this U-joint is not very flexible, so it's a good thing we're changing it in comparison to this one, which is loosey-goosey as it should be. Fast forward a little bit, we're leaving tomorrow in the morning, and we got this AC working wonderfully. She's blowing ice cold. Our rear differential is no longer binding up. It's amazing what happens when you put high quality fluid in there, plus also the right fluid. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna grease this old girl up, grease the driveline up, and I'm gonna top up the oil because I think we're down like a half quart or so. Oh, check this out, fellas. So first of all, I lied. We're actually right where we need to be, perfectly full. But check out the color of that oil. I got a couple thousand kilometers on it. There's 400,000 kilometers on this engine. That's what happens when you don't have EGR soot constantly going through the engine. Your oil isn't black as sin. You can check the oil on a 2025 Cummins, Powerstroke, Duramax, it doesn't matter. All of them will be black oil because all that EGR and that soot running through that engine, where these old engines without EGR, the oil is just a lot cleaner, and maybe that's why these engines run so much longer. She's as ready as she's gonna be. We'll see you guys bright and early to start this little road trip. Well, she's early. We're gonna get an early start on the road here. Beautiful morning. Let's see if she starts. Well, we made it to our first pit stop. Good morning, good morning. Truck's running well so far, about 200 kilometers in. Nothing to really complain about. Well, I'm a little bit more awake now. The sun is up. We're feeling good. Driven about 200 kilometers. The truck seems to be working just fine, which is wonderful news. In terms of speed, I'm trying to keep this, well, the speedometer reads about 102, 103. We do have to remember I have bigger tires on this truck, so our actual speed is closer to about 110, which is about 70 miles an hour. I think that's a pretty good speed to make some decent distance. More importantly though is our RPMs, because we do have a 5-speed in here. So I want to keep our RPMs on this engine around 22 to 2400 RPM, ideally closer to 22. I think that's a perfect blend of like fuel economy, but also allowing us to drive at a decent speed, 70 miles an hour. So that's sort of the game plan with that. Another thing I'm very curious about is how far we can go between fuel stops, because you guys can see this truck has dual fuel tanks and we just filled up, so I think that'll be kind of fun to to see how far we can push this thing between fuel stops. Now, one thing we actually didn't address is the leaf spring bushings, and the reason why I didn't is because I realized that both front and rear, I believe the driver's side leafs are sitting about an inch lower than the passenger side, and I think it's because the leafs are actually starting to sag a little bit. So what I'm probably going to do is just order new leaf springs with the spring eye bushings already in them. I think that's probably the best way to go. and that way we get back to that factory ride height, which should be nice. Over the years, leaf springs, they can sag a little bit, and that's exactly what we're seeing on this truck. So we are about to enter beautiful Quebec, Canada, and this is not the place where I want to break down. Why, you might ask? Well, mon français n'est pas très bon, and in these small communities up north here, there is very limited English from what I've heard. So there could be a little bit of a language barrier if something was to happen. Hopefully we'll just skedaddle right on through Quebec and get into Ontario. We're almost 400 kilometers into our journey here, and I gotta say, cruising at 110 on the Speedo, 115 in reality, just under 2,500 RPM. This truck's pretty smooth. We got the newer radio with Bluetooth. AC is blowing ice cold. It's a beautiful sunny day. The only thing I wish I had on this truck, which I don't, is cruise control. I think that would be very nice, but this is an old work truck, and we're gonna be all right.
The lightning shows my weakness, the thunder knows my secrets, the storm is like a brother, it knows me like no other. So let it rumble, let it roll, 'cause it's all I know. You can keep your calm and easy, but that peaceful life ain't for me. The harshest gales call out from the tree, like it can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, it's like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound, let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Oh. I see the waters rising with waves as strong as iron. My soul was born for running. The darkness is my compass, and I will follow.
These roads in Quebec are such garbage. I don't know what they do with all the money they get out from out west, but not building roads, I guess. And with this thing being a 1-ton, she feels every single bump on the road. Leaf springs up in the front, leaf springs in the back. We run into some traffic here in beautiful Quebec City. You would think that we're almost out of fuel and you'd be panicking, except this truck has 2 tanks. All right, I think we're ready to flip to the front tank here. All right, there we go. So we should be pulling from the front tank now. You can see our gauge is going all, it should go all the way to full. There you go, pretty cool. Well, oh, fellas. So, apparently we are not charging at the moment. Battery light came on, I pulled over. Alternator looks pretty freaking new, I'm not gonna lie. But, I don't have any tools with me, so we're gonna run to the parts store. Just confirm that we're not charging. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Trying to get to the parts store. Wouldn't you know, blue and white behind me here. Pulls me over. Just keeps on getting better. You guys wanted some entertainment, you got some. So we're at Parts City, we're in Montreal here. I'm like 80% sure the alternator's bad, which seems weird. It looks like a new alternator, but who knows. Got myself a little bit of tools here. Hi, Twyla. Got a little garbage alternator right there, but she worked for what we needed to do. Basically to ensure, because I think there's a fusible link between this, our power cord here off the alternator, to our switch here. But I have 12 volts from here to my battery, which means this connection should be okay. Now, what I'm not too sure about is these wires. I think it's the alternator gone bad. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna quickly change the alternator here. I got a new alternator coming for me in like 30 minutes. So yeah, we'll get to work. We'll slam this out. Doesn't look too difficult. Hopefully I don't have to deal with wiring. Not in this parking lot right here in beautiful Montreal. Got the old alternator out. Seems to spin fine. I think that could be the problem right there. We'll see. I really don't want to deal with some wiring issues, but from what I've read, apparently these Fords charging systems can get a little bit finicky. Just waiting for that new alternator to come. We'll slap it in and we'll see what happens. Even got my hands dirty, fellas.
You have a YouTube channel?
We fucking got her, boys! Let's get back on the road. The old parking lot toolbox right there, fellas. We're out of beautiful Montreal. Thank you very much for the alternator and the new tools that I have acquired. Certainly threw a little wrench in our plans there, no pun intended. But we're back on the road and we're just gonna keep on chugging. We got about 600 kilometers to go for the day. Gotta love it. One pump with diesel, all these other pumps for gas. Not a surprise. Well, let's fill this old girl up, dual tank action here. We're also using some AMSOIL diesel concentrate. Don't worry about that Banks box there, it has nothing to do with us. All the power right in the bottle. Let's go. Lila's even taking a little pit stop too, fellas. Refueling. We've been running her hard here, about 2,500 RPM. We got to make up some distance. Sun's going down. We got about 400 kilometers left, roughly 250 miles. We're currently on Highway 401, which is actually the busiest highway in North America, believe it or not. And we are about 2 hours outside of Toronto, the belly of the beast. And it's the next morning, had some time to kind of gather myself. We got in late last night, or I guess early this morning, if you will. And at that point, I was pretty delirious. All in all, though, I think this truck did pretty darn good. Other than, obviously, the alternator kind of pooping out there in Montreal. But I was thinking about that this morning. What modern truck could you simply undo 3 bolts, a bolt at the back for a power cable, and a couple of plugs, slap in a new alternator? I mean, probably not many. The engine bay on this truck is just simple. Your AC compressor's right there. It made for a rather easy repair once I got my hands on this new alternator. I did also get pulled over in Montreal, and I didn't film much of it, but basically what was happening is the alternator had failed, the truck was dying, I was trying to get to a parts store, and there was a a 4-lane highway essentially going into town. The speed limit was 70. Apparently I was going 95. Who knows? I was never been on that road before in my life. I explained this to the wonderful French-Canadian officer, and he was having none of it. Gave me the full 25 over, 2 demerit points, doing nothing but God's work up there in that province. Needless to say, I was excited to get the hell out of there. Next, as you guys saw, I was pretty excited about having dual tanks on this truck. Now, it's not like there's an incredible amount of fuel capacity. I believe the rear tank's like 18 gallons. The front tank, I believe, is about 20 gallons. So overall, just under 40 gallons of fuel, or 150 liters, but still more than your average modern F350, if you will. And you could go about 900 kilometers, I think roughly just under 600 miles, 550 miles at highway speeds. And that meant that I only had to stop once, realistically, from Fredericton all the way to London, Ontario. And I thought that was pretty cool. We did make it our 1,600 kilometer, 1,000 mile first leg of the trip, and we got a big weekend ahead of us. As I said, my sister's getting married. I'm the MC. Got some lines to nail, that's for sure. And then after that, we're gonna head down south of London to my good friend Ryan's place. He's got his nice brand new Cummins, and we're gonna install some new Banks performance parts on his truck. And then we're headed up to cottage country, beautiful Muskoka, to my good friend Travis, who's been on the channel before, and we'll have some fun up at his shop. The wedding was a success. I didn't completely embarrass myself. Did I record anything? No, because that would have been the smart thing to do. As you guys know, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Either way, we're off to my good buddy Ryan's place, where we have some fun with his nice new Cummins. And well, Christmas came a little bit early because, wouldn't you know, Banks sent us some more performance parts and upgrades for the 6.7 liter Cummins. We got the factory air box and air filter out of here. Our Holset turbo looking nice right there. Secondly, what's going on, and I didn't actually know this, so in this this pipe that goes to our turbo, we actually have a resonator in here. So upgrading this Banks Ram Air cold air intake should have a pretty decent impact on increased airflow. Also, I'm very excited to see how this thing sounds now that we're getting rid of that resonator right there. So there's a little sneak peek for you guys. Look for that full video coming out at some point in the future here. Just look how much bigger trucks are these days. This is a 2003 2500. This is a 1995 F350 3500, and makes this truck look kind of small, dare I say, compared to this very nice looking 2500. Well, looks like we are getting back on the road, making our way back to New Brunswick eventually. First, like I said, we are going to go up to my good buddy's place in Muskoka, cottage country, beautiful drive up there. Well, he's a fellow mechanic, going to tell me what he thinks about this truck. So let's get up there and see what mischief we can get into. Gonna be good to get out of the city here. We also do have our companion back. I don't know if you guys can see her in the shot, but Twyla is with me. She's excited to get back on the road too, right, Twy? Yeah, I thought so. Now we are about to hit 400,000 kilometers, which is kind of cool.
Comes
made her to Travis's place. Look at this thing. Just looking all good. We had a couple issues on our way up. First of all, our wonderful AC has stopped blowing cold. It looks like the Schrader valves are actually leaking. And well, there's not much I can do right now. So we're going to be rolling with the windows down for the rest of the trip, apparently. Secondly, when I rolled over 400,000 kilometers, roughly like 250,000 miles, instead of the truck going 39999 to 40000, it just stayed at 3. And now apparently I'm at 300,078 kilometers, something like that. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Apparently the internet says this is normal, going from 399 back to 300,000 rather than rolling over to 400,000. Let me know if you guys think that's true. The old truck, there's just always something happening. Here's Travis, the real diesel mechanic, the one who actually knows more than me, way more than me, taught me. Get up in there, bud. What do you think?
Canada.
Yeah, you know what? She's not perfect. This isn't a showroom truck.
Canada.
She ain't a showroom truck.
Sir? Sir, who did your paint job?
I don't know. It's aftermarket.
Somebody paid big money for it. Look at that. There's teal there, too. What's a teal door?
You're right, actually.
Teal on there.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to...
YouTube. Run this VIN. And then run the other one. Tell me how many accidents are on this thing. How many miles on it?
That's the other thing, actually. So weirdly enough, it crossed over 400,000, but the 3 stayed on there.
Huh.
Isn't that weird?
Huh.
It was 399. Turned back to 3.
Is that what they do, the OBSs?
I don't know. I have to look it up. Maybe one of you guys know, but it wouldn't make much sense.
Is it like Toyota Corollas where they just go 2999999?
I don't know.
Never hit 300?
Yeah, fire it up, see what you think.
Scary. What's this pedal for?
That's the old clutch.
7. Man stick. It's number 1, like granny low.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, my old truck's got low, first, second, third, fourth. And low and first are off. You probably started in third.
It will, yeah. It's third and third. What? It's got some, it feels like it does have some slop in the driveline. Which is pretty clean, eh?
How's your rod sport?
Bent.
Bent. Solid. Pretty solid old girl. Good Canadian truck. You're not really gonna find one better.
That's what I'm thinking. If it was a Canadian truck, like
you wouldn't find one better in Ontario. Like if you found this in Ontario, you'd
there's
call
just
this
no rust on the
absolutely
firewall. The inner fenders are
Oh dude, look at all the
damn
teal.
clean.
Teal bolts there. Teal
So
bolts.
I almost think it's a
Did
new
you-
cab.
Or did he go to the scrapyard and go, those bolts are fucked?
I don't know, because they're it's interesting.
Something's been done. Yeah,
There's another teal bolt right there.
teal.
Even
Factory
like
jack still? That's sweet. Good to go.
good to frickin' go. Hasn't really burned anything. Still looks clean as shit.
International. And then there's that international.
Oh yeah, 6.0 life, baby.
Oh.
All of it. head gaskets.
Low on head gaskets and still goes to work every day.
She loves the coolant though. We had some fun at Travis's place. He liked the truck, I think. And well, we're filling her up with diesel because we're about to head through Algonquin Park, which is one of the biggest parks here in Ontario, if not the biggest. So we got a lot of wild land ahead of us. And I'd rather go through with a full tank of gas or full tanks of diesel, dare I say. Now, I'm not too sure. I'm like potentially looking at driving through the night to get back to New Brunswick. It's about 14 hours from here. It's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'll see how I'm feeling. If not, I might stop somewhere in Quebec. I know. But we'll see. We'll see how I feel. Because right now it's looking like we'll be back at like 3, 4 in the morning if I do drive the whole thing. And that's a lot of kilometers, a lot of time on the old girl. So we'll play it by ear, fellas. But I'm really excited because going through Algonquin Park is beautiful. It's a beautiful country up here in Northern Ontario. And I'll take you guys along for the ride.
Give me a black motorcycle, give me playback on a vinyl and some cheap aviators from 65. Give me snakeskin boots, skull swaying like a noose, and I'll be clinging to the back of this Indian bike. Brass rings in the center and a wind with a red sunset going down. There's no lines on a gravel road riding where nobody goes, and I'm addicted to his leather and smoke. Give me a black motorcycle, give me playback on a vinyl and some cheap aviators from 65. Give me snakeskin boots, gold swaying like a
Just such wonderful country up here. I always like driving this road. And at 90 kilometers an hour, 2,000 RPM, this is where this truck really likes to sit. I remember the owner, or the previous owner, told me that this is a 90 kilometer an hour truck because that's where it likes to sit, that's where it likes to cruise, and it's the truth. I mean, it's not really a highway truck, especially with the 410 gears. It's not really, I don't know if comfortable is the right word, but this is where it feels at home on these back roads, just cruising along. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. Just beautiful, beautiful. Taking the long way home, the scenic route, as they say, I guess. If we're gonna be driving deep into the night, we need a coffee stop. None other than Tim Hortons, baby. Now that's Canadian right there. Well, for now anyways, if you know what I mean. Twyla's doing good. She's a good girl. Yeah. I think we're in a small town called Barry's Bay, Ontario. No, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How could you just not love that truck right there? So far, so good. So far, so good. Got some campers. Pit stop for Twyla too. Got to keep our passenger hydrated. Well, fellas, hopefully you guys can see me. I think the sun's behind me, but we're just coming up to Ottawa now. Got about roughly 10 more hours of driving. We're gonna do this in one shot. Yeah, what can I say? Northern Ontario, just beautiful. Beautiful landscape up there. Even coming into like the Ottawa Valley. I know a lot of people that aren't from Ontario think of only Ontario as like Toronto, which is, I mean, I don't blame you. But if you get north of Toronto, 2 hours north of Toronto, you're in a completely different world. Peaceful, calm, lots of nature. It's a cool place. We're still below 2,500 RPM, so this engine, this 7.3 should eat it up, and hopefully we'll bang this thing out all through the night without worry. I'd like to say I'm back home in Fredericton, but I'm not. We didn't make it. I was tired, so we stopped in beautiful Quebec City. We got about 4 or 5 more hours to get back. We're up and moving now. We're back on the beautiful highway. It's a frosty, cool morning. We got about 4 more hours of driving, and should be back in town at a good hour this morning. Made her back into the province, made her back into town. And, She frickin' made it. Over 4,000 kilometers, almost 3,000 miles driven on this little round trip we had. You gotta love it. That was a little bit of a drive. Thank you for everyone sticking around this long into the video. By far the longest video that I've made. But I want to throw a couple numbers at you. We drove a total of 4,400 kilometers, roughly 2,750 miles. Our fuel economy was actually not terrible. We averaged about 13 liters per 100 kilometers, or about 18 miles per gallon. And to be honest, for a 30-year-old truck that's an F350 with 410 gears screaming down the highway, I'll take 18 miles per gallon every single day of the week. The other thing I want to show you guys is our oil. So first of all, still does not look black as a brand new modern diesel does. And there's about 6,000 to 7,000 kilometers of use on this oil now. But look at that, still pretty much full, not a freaking drop of oil burned out of a 30-year-old engine with 250,000 miles, 400,000 kilometers on it. So when I hear auto manufacturers saying that brand new modern engines can burn like 1 quart of oil per 1,000 miles of use, it's just, it just kind of makes you laugh, because 30 years ago, they just didn't build them like that. So she is certainly far from perfect, but I am very happy that I took this thing home with me and had some good fun with it. If you guys did like the video, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. And if you like stuff like this, please let me know, because I like making content like this. It's a little bit different from what I typically do, but as I've said in the past, I really don't mind mixing this stuff in. And over this winter, there's a lot of stuff I want to tackle with this truck, potentially looking at building a separate engine. Anyways, I am getting ahead of myself. We'll see what happens this winter. But I do really want to continue sort of building this truck slow and steady, and see where we end up. Enough of me. Thanks for everyone who stuck around this far, and we'll see you on the next freaking video.